Houston, our instruments are showing that we have a incoming message from deep space. Repeat, Houston, we have an incoming message from deep space. Houston, we'll begin playing message now. Houston, we're going to try and translate that up here. Hold for translation. Translation complete. We'll begin playing message now.
Hey, it's me, Melissa.
What do you do when the aliens invade? Take a shot of MK Ultra and watch Melissa Jade. Put on your tinfoil hat and tune right in. We got their crime spree, flat earth theories, government conspiracies, a complex Mandela effects, unidentified objects, a mind expanding, fake moon landing, what it all bends understanding. It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa. Aliens is on the sun or in Area 51. Time travels, unravels, haunted castles, cops are baffled, potential experimental thoughts that make you transcendental. It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa. Crime sprees, flat earth theories, government conspiracies, complex Mandela effects, unidentified objects, a mind expanding, fake moon landing, what it all bends understanding. It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa.
Hello, everybody. Michelle, thank you for being a member for 26 months. It has been an absolute blessing to not only have you as a moderator and part of a channel, but as one of my closest friends. And I value you so much. So thank you so much for 26 months of support. That is amazing. Hello, my meat feeds. Under review, Harlot, People Me, Jen Gilcher. We have Loki, Kathy P. Let's talk about it. Lisa, under review. I love that name. Freak Snake. Debbie Doodles, Daleen, Samantha. Nope, not today. Forgets and Shiggles. Let me see who else we have. Lisa, Corinne, Roro, Katie Katz. Ooh, Becky P says, I've been binging this all day. I just saw you yesterday say, Becky, that you weren't familiar with it all. And look at you. I've binged this all day and I'm nearly caught up so I can interact with some sense of knowledge and opinion. Can't wait. That's awesome. Michelle, till the wheels fall off, bitch. I know somebody who can't get through a quarter without the wheels falling off. Fuck. Sorry. Everyone else be buying the whales, man. Thank you, Debbie Doodles, for gifting a membership. Congratulations to our newest member. Please make sure to thank Debbie Doodles in the chat if you are the lucky recipient. Yes, Meat Feeds. Okay. So we're gonna have Meat Feeds. If you want to come up, you're more than welcome to come up. We're gonna have Mallory from Malicious Intent come up. And I'm really excited. She'll be here with us in a few moments. I think Big Al might come up. And like I said, anybody is welcome who would like to give their thoughts. You're more than welcome to join us. But I'll give like a little recap of the case itself. But I'm sure most people, for the most part, know what's going on. But the video speaks for itself. Okay. Welcome, Just Me. Thank you for becoming a member. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Tess. Hi, Meg. So, Starlight Angel. Yes, yo knows Miss Esto. I think I added an extra S in there. Hi, Kelly. Yo knows Modesto. Thank you, Care Bear, for being a member for 13 months. Hey, MJ in chat. Hi. Hi, Chase is on the case. Hello, Linda. Listen, Linda. All right. And I am going to give you guys a trigger warning. Okay. I'm going to give you guys a trigger warning. Yes, it's true crime, but I will be playing parts of this video I may get impulsive and play all the video. I don't know, but that's why I'm giving you the trigger warning now. Okay. Welcome, Elisa. So happy to have you part. Thank you so much for joining. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. I couldn't imagine spending my Friday night any other way. I'm really, really excited to discuss this case with you guys. We just got a verdict in this case yesterday. So I'm just curious, just to gauge, yeah, Harlot, me too. Put a 1 in the chat if you are not familiar with the case. I just want to have an idea so I know how kind of in depth I need to get for context. Okay, awesome, Care Bear. Have a wonderful night. Yes, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I really need to show this video because as much context as I give verbally, the video is right there in front of your eyes. It's not about trying to explain it. You'll be able to see this. This was captured on video. So you don't know any of the details, Shakta? Okay. You watched the whole trial, Meg P. See, I didn't even know about it until a few days ago. But for real, like, there's not so much backstory and context to give. And it's kind of like, this is what happened. This is how it played out. And you're really going to be left. Is this self-defense or murder? Which, you know, reckless homicide. Did the jury get this right or not? Yeah, I can, Harlot. But I want, again, to give a trigger warning. This is a video is captured of the events, and it is very, you know, I don't even want to say it's super graphic. It's graphic. It's not super graphic. But what it entails and what you're going to see is obviously injuries and the loss of a life. And it's, you know, it's sensitive and may not be for everybody. So if it's something that's going to trigger you, I'll give another warning before I play the video. But you may want to click off, and viewer discretion is advised. It is extremely chaotic, and it's going to give you anxiety, 100%. Hey, Mark. What Tess say? Hold on. Ooh. Is it near you? Your neighbor testified, Tess? Oh, my goodness. Hi, Marion. I don't think so either, Jen. And I would not want to sit on this jury. I would not want to sit on this jury. I'll tell you that. But our panel guest today will be Mallory from Malicious Intent. I will be dropping her link throughout this live, and her link is available in the description of this video if you are watching it on replay. She has an amazing channel. She covers really the cases that are less popular and very much need attention. Not just the ones in the spotlight that get you a bunch of views. She really very much focuses on the cases that can't generate the attention that the others get. And that's amazing. And I give her a lot of credit. And she's just so educated and smart when it comes to her research. And so if you aren't already subscribed, please take a moment, click over, show her some support, and you won't regret it. Hi, hippie chick. You think they got it wrong? Okay. All right. Yeah. We are going to be doing polls. All right. So I'm going to pull up a timeline because I think it's best to start with the timeline of events of how this played out. Like I said, Mallory will be here shortly, but we could start with this timeline. It's being referred to as the Apple River stabbing. The defendant, the person who was just charged, his name is Nicolae Miu. He is going to be a lot of the focus but there's going to be a lot of victims and there's going to be a lot of names tossed around. So it's going to get a little bit confusing trying to keep track because there isn't just one victim, there is one death. But that's why I think it's good to kind of go over the timeline, and then I'll show you guys who the players are, what their names are with their photos, so you could get an idea. So the Apple River stabbing and a timeline of what happened. So Nicolae Miu is charged in the fatal stabbing on the Apple River in July 2022. Here's a timeline of what happened, and then we will watch the video so you guys can see. So Miu, who is 54 years old. Now, it's details like this I really need you guys to pay attention to, because I think that these are major factors in the whole scenario and how it played out. Hello, Big Al. I sent you a link. Let me know if you need me to drop it in chat. So I think that these are factors in everything. You need to consider it. Miu is 54 years old. Miu also just had a quadruple bypass, okay? A quadruple bypass heart surgery. I take that as a factor. He had just recovered. He also has other injuries that he struggles with. English is his fifth language. No, or fourth. Hold on, let me confirm. Nicolae, he speaks 5 different languages. But English is his, hold on, I don't know if it was his fourth. Yeah, it's his 5th language, okay? So you've got to, it was 1 year prior to the incident. He speaks numerous languages. Hey, Bryn. But English is his 5th language. I guess he speaks 4 ones better than English, okay? That is another factor. That is another factor, because when we get to the actual scenario happening, he's an older man in his 50s. He had just recovered from quadruple bypass surgery, along with other injuries. Keep that in mind as far as his physical shape. And English is not his first language, okay? English is not his first language. And yes, 0 criminal history, okay? All of these are main factors you need to keep in mind. So Miu is facing charges, and this is an article before he was found guilty, but he was facing charges of first-degree intentional homicide for the death of 17-year-old Isaac Schumann and multiple counts of attempted first-degree intentional homicide for his alleged role in the stabbings on July 30th, 2022. His trial is set to begin on April 1st, 2024. So again, this is an older article. Nicolae and his friends went tubing on the Apple River. There was other groups of younger kids drinking, also tubing along the river. A scenario happened, a life was lost, and multiple kids were injured. Where we're going to end up focusing on is this justified? Is this self-defense? Or was it intentional homicide? I want to hear your guys' thoughts. So this is Nicolae Miu. At the time he was arrested, okay? Because he looks very different now. He's lost a lot of weight. But this is Nicolae. So get an idea of his face. This is who we're dealing with. Again, English is not his first language. Was it 2 years ago? When is it? Barking at the Moon? And that's right, harlot. Like, not having a criminal history does not necessarily mean that you haven't committed crimes. It could be that you did not get caught. But collectively, put it as a little nugget in your mind and keep it there. Reckless was the verdict, Becky. Reckless. They went with lesser charges. I still don't agree, though, I'll be honest. Okay, so then I apologize. 2 years ago. But for quadruple bypass, that is a major fucking surgery, a major recovery time. You have to learn to walk again. I know during the trial, they even showed the photo of him with his little heart pillow that they give you at the hospital to protect the incision area, because any pressure, anything like that is very dangerous. Okay. So hi, Grandma Cece. So that's Nicolae. On July 30th, 2022, the day in question. Hold on, I got a beep. Hello, Big Al.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm just gonna go through like a timeline of what's up, but you want to tell everyone how you're related to, well, not related to the case, but like, you know what I mean.
Oh, it's a major tourist attraction in the area that I grew up in for, I'd call it the tri-state, Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. It's kind of a rite of passage for teens. It used to be a
Ooh.
big family-oriented thing, and then it turned into just a booze fest.
So it's a rite of passage for teens. So it's very common for all the teens to go there, drink, hang
Groups.
out, and go tubing.
Yeah, groups.
Wow.
Usually hang out tube. You hit the river 2 to 3 times in one day, and then hit the campground and party all night.
They could give you barking at the moon. They give you that for multiple reasons. It's to protect the incision, period. Whether you want to hold it, whether he had to use it to have his dog, like he.
And you're
It's
not
there
supposed to cough without it.
protect it. Sorry, go ahead, Al.
You're not supposed to cough without the pillow.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you, Tracy. I don't think anybody can argue quadruple bypass surgery is a huge fucking surgery to have. It's a very serious surgery. I take that as a major, major factor in, was he in prime condition? I take it a lot as a factor of, what was his mentality? Did he feel like he could even defend himself? If we're going to argue, can you defend yourself? That is a factor. You just recovered from quadruple bypass surgery. Hi, Mallory.
Hello.
How are you?
Hey, I'm good.
We just started.
I ate dinner and I popped in.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. So I'm so happy both of you guys are up here. I figured we would start. I have a timeline up, kind of go through the timeline because there's a few people who aren't familiar with it, and then watch the video.
Yep.
And then give our thoughts.
Okay. And just for reference, for anyone that doesn't know, I am from Minnesota. So where the court was taking place in Hudson is less than 45 minutes from me. I don't want to get too specific. But yeah, so this is somewhat local to me, to the point where I think I said this to you, MJ, was the day that this all happened, my sister was tubing and I didn't know where. And because this is so close, it could have been that lake, but luckily, or that river, but it wasn't, thank God. So I remember it very vividly just because of that.
That's surprising, because usually when someone says tubing, it's the Apple River.
Well,
Around
it wasn't
here, for the most part. Yeah.
Okay.
I grew up in the city, so.
Oh, okay, yeah, and so we're like closer to, like, we would do more Rum River.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, stuff like that.
Right.
So having the heart pillow, because I don't even know really why this is like a back and forth. Having the heart pillow is there to lessen pain, makes movement more manageable, and safeguards the incision site. So again, because I was talking about how he had just had quadruple bypass, he was given the heart pillow, and that you use the heart pillow as protecting your incision site. You could also use it for if you have to cough, if you have to make movement manageable. That is why they give you a heart pillow. Okay, Shelly Bean. So you both are familiar with this, and that is crazy that you said your sister.
Yeah, she was actually tubing that day, because I remember when it started to kind of like reach like the local Facebook groups and like our crime groups and stuff like that, and it was like there's a stabbing on the Apple River or whatever. And then I remember texting her, but then of course she didn't have her phone on her while she was on the river.
Jesus.
And so then I was like trying to reach out to my stepmom and my dad and trying to figure out where she was, and they're like, I don't know, she may have gone to the border, she may have done Rum River, we don't know, blah blah blah. So we were all trying to figure it out, and then finally she got back to us and she wasn't on Apple River, but it's definitely one that she'd been on.
That's so terrifying. You must have been so, oh my goodness. Now, let me ask you guys, is this somewhere where there's a lot of crime happening? Like, do people usually get in fights? No, really?
Mm-mm.
No, very rare.
Yeah. And I think too, even with like the tubing, it's a very like chill environment almost. Everyone's just there to have a good time, to float down the river, have some drinks. So something escalating to this.
You get the occasional drunks.
Yeah.
You know, the loud asshole that, you know, there's always one in every 10
Yeah.
groups.
Yep.
But for the most part, they put so many cops on the river now that, I mean, they really curbed all the issues that they were having. It was like I said, yes, I think it was the day before yesterday I mentioned, at every bend in the river now they have a stand where they actually put sheriffs and under an umbrella, chilling with a cooler of water, watching what's going on. And years ago, those stands were beer can targets. now they have cops sitting in them.
Well, but the crazy thing is too, is it's also, the cops are there obviously for the safety of it. But from what I've heard from people, it's not something where like the teenagers that are there are getting pulled out when they're drinking either. If that makes sense. So it's like they're not there to like
doing it in their face.
Right. But even if they like, you could just potentially have a cooler in one of the tubes and all be looking like high schoolers, and they're not going to stop you.
See, I would think that an area that was so common for young adults or teens to hang out and drink, it's bound to have fights and this and that. Maybe it's just a different area than here, but that I'm surprised. So this is really out of the blue. Like, this is not normal.
No, something like this is not normal for there. Not at all.
No.
Wow.
I remember when I heard about it, I freaked. I was like, what? No, not the Apple River.
Okay. All right. Well, so we have July 30th, 2022. This is the day in question. This is when it actually occurred. And so 9:30 a.m., Nicolae Miu and his wife leave their home in Prior Lake, Minnesota. They plan to meet friends and spend the day floating the Apple River, which is a popular destination for tubers in Wisconsin. St. Croix County, is that how you pronounce it? St. Croix County?
St. Croix.
Okay. Thank you. St. Croix. So I've never been tubing. I'm not super familiar with tubing, but apparently something that you commonly do when you go with a group of people is you tie all of your tubes together with ropes so you could kind of travel in the river as a pack. And so on this day, Nicolae brought a very sharp, I don't know exactly what type of knife it was, but he brought a knife with him. He refers to it as a Swiss Army knife, but he says it's Swiss Army because he does everything with it. He uses that as a screwdriver. He does, he uses it, and he's an electrician. And so he kept it in his pocket, and because his friend, I guess, specifically called him. This is what he testified to. His friend called him and said, make sure you bring your knife with you, because at the end, they have to cut the rope to get their individual tubes.
Yep.
I'm sure tubing is a lot of fun. We just don't have rivers here. So at 10:45 a.m., Miu arrives at River Edges Playground. So here's a photo of the river. little bridge. I wish we had something like this here. This is the Apple River. So Miu's group starts their float. Sandra Miu later tells police the only person that left the group during the float was her husband, Nicolae, who left to find a phone that someone in their party had lost. Using scuba gear, Miu starts searching the river near a bridge. So as him and his group of older friends, okay, hi fur coat mama, him and his group of older friends are floating. One of the friends loses their phone. Apparently the friend is like, it's fine, you know, don't worry about it. But Nicolae, being, you know, some people say being a good friend, you know, and he had scuba gear, you know, he had his goggles, and he's like, nah, I'll leave the group of the tubes and I'll walk upstream and I will look for the phone.
Mhm.
So that is what separated him from his group, off his tube, and that's what he was doing as he's walking towards the group of teenagers.
Yeah. So one thing too that I just want to bring up that I was
Mhm.
actually talking to Tess about earlier, because she's also from the area, is this is not, at least nowadays, is not the cleanest river.
Oh, it is now.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We were there 2 years ago. We were there in 22, and it's way better than it was before.
Oh, because it was for
Way
some
better.
time. There was a lot of stuff that was coming out of that river that people were like, I'm not even going to touch it. Like, even I think Tess just said in chat, like, I would never go in there now.
Well, especially if it's a teenage hangout. What do they do with all the beers and stuff like that? I'm sure it gets trashed.
Well, here's the thing. You have to. That's why I have a hard time with kids getting beer on and off now, because you get checked going on the river. You have to bring out what you bring in. At least at the campground that we've frequented my whole life. I've always gone to Apple River Campground, always River's Edge, and they check. You've got 60 cans. You're gonna have 60 cans. You know that's
Wow.
and not all of them are the same. You know where the problems came in for us when we were there was always at night at the campground. It was always around the campfire because people would wander from campsite to campsite, getting drunk, stealing beers out of coolers, being stupid. You know, that's when the booze really kicks in, is at night, because you've been drinking all day in the sun, and then you drink it till 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, and then you do it again the next day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
And they have concerts, and I mean, there's huge music festivals. That picture you're showing right now
Yeah.
is so uncharacteristic of that river. To see
Really?
one group of tubers, I
It
guarantee
was
you, if you go
packed.
Oh, yeah.
edge to edge, you could almost walk across the tubes.
Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
I mean, packed, thousands of people.
Well, see, that's why I appreciate having you guys here, because that gives context. I wouldn't know. I'm not familiar at all with this area. Like I said, we don't even have rivers here. So it's very popular and very packed.
You drive into Somerset, and it's a small town. I don't know what
Yeah.
the population is. I'd have to look, but it's probably less than 3,500. There are school buses with inner tubes hanging off of them everywhere.
Stop it.
People walking down the side of the road with Dairy Queen was a big thing. Where you got off the river, there was a Dairy Queen right there.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
everybody got off the river and went to Dairy Queen. The people that weren't peeing in the river all day went use the bathroom and got an ice cream to wait for their bus to take them back to their campground. And then you either had a designated driver or you stayed. And if you stayed, the party was on. I mean, it was a party. Make no mistake about it. I mean, it was a bash every Friday and Saturday night.
So, and Mallory,
Mhm.
you said it was his fifth language. I know he spoke how many languages, but this was his fifth language?
Yes. Yep.
Because he spoke. He was
English
a
was
very
his fifth.
educated man. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, what was it? He came over here as a teenager, ended up going to college for mechanical engineering, I believe. And he speaks, yeah, it'll be up to 5 languages, and I believe English was his fifth language based on what I was reading. It's like Russian, trying to think, Mandarin maybe, Like, it was the hard ones too, like the languages that
Yeah.
are really hard to learn.
I take that as a factor, though. Again, when we get to the
Yeah.
moment in question, I this is very much a factor, and the quadruple bypass, I take that as a factor. I know it may, like, because people are like, all right, it's 2 years ago. Actually, for such a massive surgery, 2 years is really not a long time. 2 years would really be about the point where, yeah, you could go out and do tubing and you could go out and do the physical, but I definitely take that recovery process. Okay, you go from broken to having to learn how to walk again, to function again, to now, okay, it's at the point where I no longer have to protect so much my incision site, but I feel like I do, like, it's not an overnight thing. And I do think it made him in a more vulnerable position. He did not feel his strongest, in my opinion. This is just my
Yeah.
opinion.
So I Googled, Big Al, kind of what you were saying, the population of Somerset, which is interesting because Somerset, Wisconsin is known as the inner tubing capital of the world.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then the population in 2022 was 3,148, according to the U.S. Census
Damn,
Bureau.
I said 3,000. I was pretty close.
Yeah.
Well, and Becky,
So
I'm not in the country. Like, we have buildings here. We don't have the country. I'm in Long Island, so sorry. Go ahead, Valerie.
no, you're good. That was just something where it's like, that's very similar. Like, I've had to go out there for work to just drive there during the day. And I literally feel like as soon as I cross over the border from Minnesota to Wisconsin, it's just fields, especially going the way that I go. What?
It changes really quick.
It does. Well, especially as soon as you go through Stillwater and everything like that too. It's just like city where it's like Target, Walmart, all these stores, and then all of a sudden it's just like nothing. You see a bridge, you see another bridge, then you take an exit, and all of a sudden there's a Quick Trip and a Dollar General, and that's it.
And tell me if I'm right on this. Every small town in Wisconsin has 4 things: a Quick Trip,
Yep,
a Dollar General,
yep,
churches, and bars.
yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, that's
And
so
that's it.
funny. Well,
And usually more bars than churches.
Yeah,
And-
there's usually one.
more bars than churches.
Yeah, more bars than churches.
That's funny. And Becky P, it's not so much, oh, could he not have used his legs after bypass, but with being such a significant surgery in the hospital, like, they take you through the process, which was pretty standard actually for most surgeries where you have to start to walk again, but he couldn't just freely walk after a major heart surgery like that. It's a process, and you can't just okay, like, all right, I got my gallbladder removed, like, in 2 weeks you should be right back at it. No, it's a very long, tedious process. Even walking, getting up and walking, and that blood pressure and that movement, he testified to it in trial, and that's how he explained it, which, again, English isn't his first language, even though he's very fluent in it. But you even showed photos. The photos went up on the screen of him having to take his first walk and the whole recovery process. I know, malicious. And Fur Coat Mama says, I'm from Wisconsin. That's absolutely true. Hello, Tess. Welcome.
Hi, I'm sorry. It was muted because my dog is barking. I apologize.
You're fine. This is the first time I have Tess up on panel. It's so lovely having you.
Hi, thank you.
Thanks for joining
Sorry
us.
about the dog barking in the background.
You're fine.
He's
Seriously.
a wild one today. Spring
Dogs
fever.
Dogs get a free pass.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just going over the timeline. Again, any point you guys want to interject and just say something, just interrupt me. So at this point, Miu walks away from his group of friends and he's going to find the friend's phone. I do not know. I did not watch the full trial. I only found out about this a few days ago. Does anybody know if the phone was ever found?
I haven't heard.
Okay. So,
there's a picture that more says what this place is about.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
okay.
more
Like that every day, usually more.
Yeah,
people
especially
than
in the summer.
just a giant party.
It's like 7 miles long, and it's like that everywhere.
Jesus. And there hadn't been accidents in the past, either where
Nothing
young
like this.
kids drown.
Mhm.
Nothing.
Oh, there's always some kid diving off a bridge and banging their head or
Yeah.
stupid shit, but Nothing like this that I can ever remember.
Wow.
But yeah, they keep showing these pictures now. I'm seeing on the news, and it's like, wait a minute, that's not what I remember. And I was just there 2 years ago.
Last summer I went to Country Fest or whatever it is that's there, and the only thing there were signs up was like about petty theft, people taking cell phones, and that was like the crime.
Right.
And that's
Which
everywhere.
makes sense.
You know?
Yeah. Wow. All right. That's interesting. All right. So it says a video. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. Yep. He left using his scuba gear, and Miu starts searching the river. Now, I want you guys to keep in context. Miu, and you'll see in the video, is wearing his swim trunks, goggles, and the scuba thing, whatever. And
Snorkel.
thank you.
And
Snorkel.
keep in mind, he's in knee-deep water.
He's in knee-deep water. Mm-hmm.
I learned something yesterday I did not know. That's like a thing people do there.
Okay.
I had never heard that ever. People
To snorkel?
and find things that people dropped.
Oh yeah, sunglasses.
I had no clue that was something that people actually do. So
Jewelry.
that makes him not as weird. That's not as weird once you know a lot of people do it. And I had no clue people did that.
Mm-hmm. And so he also had that switchblade hooked into his pocket, which again, he kept. I don't think it's so abnormal he had that with him. You need something to cut the ropes and stuff. A guy doesn't have a pocketbook, like he keeps that blade hooked in his pocket. It wasn't visible though on the outside.
I have a knife clipped into my pocket every time I leave the house.
It's not so crazy. So at 3:44 p.m., a video recording shows Nicolae carrying goggles with a snorkel attached as he approaches a group of tubers. Miu is told to get away. The group accuses Miu of looking for little girls, and the situation escalates when a larger group approaches. The video shows multiple people yelling at Miu and at least one person touching his shoulder. From the video, it does appear to show people on 3 sides of Nicolae at different distances. The video and elapsed time shows opportunity for Nicolae to leave the confrontation, court documents say. So as you guys are going to see in the video, if you were Nicolae, you look to your left, there are people screaming at you. You look in front of you, there are people screaming at you. And you look to the right, there are people screaming at you. He was surrounded by so many people just screaming and loud. Now, the teenagers claim that Nicolae said, "I'm looking for little girls." The video does not show that, yet you can't hear what he says at all times, but it doesn't make sense that he would say that. I think that they were rowdy teenagers. I think he probably did look a little weird, kind of approaching and looking, because he's looking for a phone. So you're kind of just wandering in the area near them, acting a little bit maybe weird, and it just turned into, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think he said, "I'm looking for little girls"? I don't.
No way.
Highly doubtful.
Yeah,
I think it was a bunch of kids starting shit.
Yeah, well,
That's what I
especially
think.
because it's not like there were little girls around either. It's not an area where you'd even joke, even though that's not a joke. But I'm just saying, it's not something that you would just bring up as a joke because it's not even plausible, if that makes sense.
Well, and yes, Chris, in the video, you will see there's one part where I can see Nicolae maybe appearing to go after them. But you see, again, knee-deep water. They're kind of chilling on their tubes that are grouped together. And he does run up on them at one point. I did not see him physically touch anyone. But when you have the context that he was looking for his friend's phone, you could tell that it seemed like he thought one of them was holding it, and he kind of ran up real quickly, you fucking have it. But then when he got closer, he realized it wasn't and started to walk away. That's how I perceived it.
And maybe he tripped. I kind of think that those janky shoes he was wearing, he tripped on it, and it kind of made it look like he was running or lunging, but he kind of tripped. In my opinion, that's kind of what it looks like, but I could be wrong.
Right.
I don't think any time I've ever tried to run in that river, it ended with me anything less than doing a face plant in the water.
Right. Well, and his sandals were duct taped string together. They were really, and trying to walk in water, because I actually go into the ocean with flip-flops all the time because I do not like the feeling of the ocean. In New York, our beaches are not clear. So you can't see your feet. And I don't like seeing the body, feeling it and not knowing what's there. And so I wear flip-flops. And let me tell you, it is so hard to walk in water, even with flip-flops on. No, they're not saying he tripped. He absolutely does scoot up on them. I wouldn't say full force running. Like he kind of like does a pep in his step, kind of but then I didn't see him touch anyone. We're going to pull up the video, but I didn't see him touch anyone. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I didn't. It became visible that as he got right there, he realized this isn't it, and then started walking back. But still, that's not justified for what happened right after, So at 3:47 p.m., so 3 minutes lapsed, the first 911 calls come in, reporting that there was a stabbing on the Apple River near the Sunrise Bridge. Later, reports from 911 calls indicated there were 4 victims with wounds to the mid to upper body. Deputies find 17-year-old Isaac Schumann without vital signs and perform life-saving measures. Schumann later died at Lakeview Hospital in Stillwater, Minnesota. Another victim, Riley Madison, told Fox 9 she was stabbed during an altercation with Miu. And we could watch this, but I feel like you need to watch the video first. And so 6:45 p.m., witnesses report seeing Miu downriver at a park where tubers exit the river. Police converge on a park and detain Miu. He is interviewed that same night and tells police, "I was in self-defense mode," after the tubers attacked him. So here is police on the scene. July 31st, police obtain and review the 21-second video. August 1st, Miu is charged with first-degree intentional homicide and 4 counts of attempted first-degree intentional homicide. And this is Isaac. Okay. So then, before we do the video, I want to show you guys the different people, just so when you watch the video, you know who's who.
Even though it is hard because the whole thing's kind of just throwing around a phone.
Okay. Hi, Maui girl. So we have the stabbing victims, which is Isaac Schumann. Isaac is the victim who passed away. We have AJ Martin. AJ Martin is the victim, in my opinion, that survived with the most gruesome injuries. We have Riley Madison, Tony Carlson, and Dante Carlson. Now, again, much more people were involved, but these are the victims of the stabbing. Hi, Akasha. So, right here, Nicolae Miu. Now, when I pull up a more recent photo of him in court this week, he looks very different. I mean, you could tell it's him, but he has drastically lost weight. Usually when people go to jail, they tend to gain weight, but he has drastically lost a decent amount of weight since being in there.
He really has.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he'll last long in jail, prison. He just seems very weak.
His health will decline really fast.
Yeah, I think so too.
So this is Sandra Miu. This is Nicolae's wife. She did not want to be there. She did not want, she was not really having it at all. But this is Nicolae's wife, and she was there. She testified on April 3rd. She was there at the time, but again, she stayed back in her original group of friends when Nicolae walked off to go search for the friend's phone. Hi, LFT. So Nicolae Miu's ex-wife, she filed for divorce in March of 2024. She was tubing with him on the day of the stabbing and told authorities her husband had a knife in his pocket. She was the 14th witness to testify in Miu's trial.
Didn't she say, though, that was common?
Yes.
That he carried around with him like a majority of the time?
Yeah, he said he used it for everything. It was his Swiss Army knife, because it was a knife that he used for everything. But I still am so curious with how sharp that damn knife was, because the injuries inflicted from it were so brutal.
Yeah.
I don't know, Michelle, because I don't know if they divorced to protect assets. She just seemed like she didn't want to be there at all. She was not happy.
They did say in some interview at a local channel here, they said that they did divorce for financial reasons. So if he gets a civil suit, it won't affect her.
Oh, really?
That she still loves him. That's
Is that
what she
allowed?
said. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Interesting. Chris said she was exempt from testifying about their personal conversation since they were married when the event occurred. Yeah. Okay. So this is Isaac Schumann, beautiful young boy whose unfortunately his life was tragically lost this day. This is a situation where it really is, there are no winners. It's not an easy one, in my opinion. And it's just a loss no matter which way you look at it. So Isaac Schumann, he was fatally stabbed on the Apple River in this day. And this was the celebration of life. Then we have, and Isaac was 17. Then we have Riley Madison. Okay. And she was a 24-year-old. And she was the first one who actually got stabbed on this day.
Is she the one that they claimed he hit?
No, that was the one who testified in the dark. Like,
that's her friend Madison.
Yes.
Okay.
So she corroborates Madison's testimony. But she admits in this interview, did you watch this?
I have not.
Okay. She admits, I was drinking. A lot of it is a blur. I was told this. I didn't see that, because the issue that comes up is every kid that gets on that stand, their stories were different. Nothing was consistent. There was false police statements made. Everything's a little shady here, okay?
Because he hit Madison, yet she wore her sunglasses, was holding her beer and her cell phone, and had absolutely no marks, except for the marks that she had in the pictures that she accidentally deleted and can't find anymore.
Yes. And
sorry.
No, you're perfectly fine. And at one point it's like, you got hit on, she testified she got hit on the left side of her face with a punch with the left hand. That's not possible. How do you get hit on the left side of your face if it's a left hook, you know?
Oh, she has her left and rights mixed up, Melissa.
But that's what she said.
Yeah.
I have my left and my rights mixed up. I get them mixed up. Okay. So bad. So Riley is one of the 4 surviving stab victims. She spoke to Fox 9 from her hospital bed in the days that followed the stabbing. She was the 11th witness in the trial, testifying on Wednesday, April 3rd. So again, this last week. Then we have AJ Martin. This is him in court showing off his where he was stabbed, where he was injured. Him in the video that we're going to watch is probably the most graphic. He was actually, it's referred to as disemboweled. The stab wound that was inflicted was so grave that part of your intestines kind of protrude and start to come out. And you will even see on the video that he is holding his stomach, okay, because he's trying to prevent his organs from coming out. It's that bad, all right? So that's why I keep saying I don't know what kind of knife this was and how sharp
it was. Sharp.
Damage.
Yeah. Real sharp.
Yeah. Because it wasn't like, all right, we see the K-bar in the Idaho 4, right? This big, ridiculous knife. That's not the knife we're talking about here. It was just sharp as hell. I don't know what he did to this knife.
That's indicative of someone who obsessively sharpens a knife. To get a knife that sharp, you've got to work. That thing was seriously scalpel sharp.
Was it an open blade or was it a flip
fold
blade?
I think
it was. It's what they call it's a cross between a gravity blade and a switchblade. It doesn't actually have a spring. I actually have one in my hand right now. It's an open assist blade. and it doesn't.
Can it close though? Like,
Yes.
Oh no! Once it's locked open, it's locked open.
Oh,
you have to
wait,
physically
locked
unlock
open?
it.
my point, like, is it sharp when it's in his pocket, or is it something that when he
Negative.
takes it out,
No,
it opens and then
it
it's
opens
sharp?
up.
Okay.
So
Hold
one
on,
quarter of the knife surface has a blade. The rest, the other 3 sides are protecting the blade.
They sell them at every store around here, correct?
Oh,
Al?
everywhere.
I mean, it's like
They're
everywhere.
everywhere.
Every guy
Every
has
gas
them.
station, everywhere.
All the guys
I
have
just
them.
never look, I suppose.
Yeah, because
I
I
have
don't
a
either, but my son has one. So
I have a Milwaukee one that I have it with me every day.
it's just a thing.
I pick up my keys, my gun, my knife, and my wallet, and out the door I go. I have it with me every day, no matter what.
I saw a photo of it. I have to find it again. But when I saw it, it was just black because they recovered it because he did toss it, and it was just like a black folding. I did not see it when it was open, but when I saw it, I was like, "That's the one." Like, it wasn't so. I've seen worse knife, but I guess it goes to show you it really just depends how sharp the blade is.
It was effortless. He didn't even work at that. You can see it in the video if you watch it
Yeah.
over and over again.
Yes.
He barely. I mean, it wasn't like he was putting pressure.
No.
He went in the length of the blade and went straight up, and it was over.
Yep. Because we're talking about little jabs here. Like it wasn't some for the injuries that were inflicted. It's like, holy shit, it was, but you could see he stood up in court, AJ, and showed, and that's damn, man. Like, look at that. That is crazy.
Some of that scarring has to be from surgery as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he only stuck him one time.
Just to show, woof, man. So AJ was stabbed, on the Apple River and badly injured. He was the 12th person to testify describing his gruesome injuries. Then we have Alexander Vang, who gave an emotional testimony in the trial. He witnessed the death of his friend, Isaac. And there's a lot of players, like I said, but something that is a big issue in trial is that they all kind of did not give consistent. So, well, I don't want to say they didn't give consistent. It was inconsistent with their original reports, things that they said to police initially. They described things happening, yet now that they have the video recovered, that did not happen. So it was a lot. So Alexander is a friend of Isaac, and he testified on the second day of trial. Now we have Madison Cohen. Maddie, we do not have an image of. Maddie was the star witness for prosecution, and she did not she only testified in front of the jury. We did not have an image or audio, nothing. And Maddie is the one who was allegedly struck by Miu during the fight on the Apple River. She testified on the second day of the trial. Yet the recording that we're going to watch, you do not see Miu strike her. Now, granted, the camera pans away for a moment, and so we can't tell you if it did or did not happen, but she is standing in the same position when the camera pans back over. She did not get pushed back, and if she got punched, I would imagine she would move a little bit. I don't see the reaction that I would expect if he just hit her, but he did testify that he put his hand up because you will see she is in his face, and he did put his hand up to say stop, but he testified he never touched her, nothing.
Mm-hmm. It's something.
She's the instigator, I think. I think that she escalated the situation to make it much worse.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she was embarrassed, and that's why she didn't want to testify and have everyone see her.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say too, like, if you're the one that's visibly potentially setting off this entire part of events, like, I don't know. The whole thing is just,
I think the appeal process on this is going to be quick. and it's going to piss a lot of people
They
off.
had a juror who fell asleep. That's an
Yep.
appeal argument right there.
Yep.
One of the jurors fell asleep.
Unbelievable. I read that and I was like, what?
Yeah.
No, Chris, it was the teens who testified. They all kind of testified that he punched her, he slapped her. But then going back to, honestly, it seemed like they were defense's witnesses. It was not good it did not look good for for a prosecution's witness, and this guy right on screen, Jawan Cockfield, was the worst of them all because he had just given a statement to police within a month of him testifying, and he was testifying that a man came out of the woods wearing a hat, wearing a hat, wearing a jacket, and you will see in the video, no, Miu's not wearing any of that. He didn't come out of the woods. So then he had to say, well, I don't know. I may have got that wrong, because they kept referring to the video. Do you see that in the video now? No, so there is some, I think they did not want to admit they instigated.
They did. And he's the one that took the video that got messed up too, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Jawan is the one that he said it's because he sent a video from an iPhone to an Android. I've sent videos from an iPhone to an Android a billion times, and the video doesn't get ruined. That's just such a load of crap.
Bullshit.
Right. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. So Jawan is who shot the cell phone video, and what's gonna make you mad, at least it made me mad when we watched the video, is when they realize what's happening, he flips it around and continues to record himself. Which I don't know what, I would not be worried about fucking recording myself's my own reaction when I just realized my friend is laying out bleeding in the river. I would go to help, not, oh my God, let me take selfie. It pisses me off.
They backed up too. They backed up too a lot.
Yeah. I'll say there was the one kid that was testifying that was not stabbed.
Yes.
Who said that he was like one of the ones that went over and helped Isaac and was like really, really trying not to cry during it and everything like that. That was like the one guy that was like, holy shit, this is happening. I need to do what I can, versus like, at least from what I could see. He was one of the only ones that I saw show genuine emotion versus like anger or this guy needs to go down. He was like just overly emotional about the entire thing.
He showed remorse for the whole thing.
Yes. Thank you, Tess. Thank you.
Well, this is just another situation that proves the point I've been trying to make for months. We need laws put in place where if you do not render aid, if you choose picking up a camera versus rendering aid, there has to be some sort of culpability for that. We have to have that, or society, we're gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
Well, and we're worried about getting that one picture while people bleed out late in the river
for the culture.
Mm-hmm. And there was 2 separate recordings. So if the issue became with the one who was on not part of it and just recording from the back, I don't know if that's not the same guy, but I'm sure I'll figure it out as I keep scrolling. So Jawan shot the cell phone video of the entire encounter. The video runs approximately 3 minutes and 20 seconds. It will provide the jury with the critical evidence. Cockfield was good friends with Isaac, our victim that was that passed away, and he testified on April 2nd, the second day of the trial, during which he broke down on the stand. We have Alina, which is heartbreaking. Alina is Isaac Schumann's mother, again, the victim who passed. And she testified on the second day of trial. And even seeing the still frame of her face, oh, my heart breaks.
Yeah.
We have Isaac Schumann's family reacting to the evidence in the Apple River stabbing trial, which it's so critical to have had a video of it, but at the same time, I can't imagine how much that haunts the families to know that the last moments are caught on camera, and to have to witness that. You have Ryan Nelson, Ryan is another witness, and he was Isaac Schumann's friend. He testified on the first day of the trial. Quentin Carlson was with a group of friends tubing down the river. He witnessed the fight on the river, and I don't know why, but he sent 2 of his sons over to the fight in hopes of calming the situation, and both of his sons, Dante and Tony, were stabbed. I don't know why he would say, hey, look, a big fight's starting out, go over there. Some people will say that's heroic. I say that as a parent, I would never advise my children to go over there.
He spoke to someone on like the CBS affiliate the other day, and he said he sent his sons there to help the old guy. Like, he was worried about the old guy with all the kids around him, which is just ironic, what happened.
Well,
but
these kids now have this mob mentality that when there's more than 4 or 5 of them in a group, they start ganging up on people.
Right.
Yep.
You see it every day.
Well, and they asked that too during some of the questioning of these witnesses. They were like, as more people started coming over, were you less scared? Were you less this? Where some of them were like, I was still nervous. I didn't know what was going to happen. And other ones, but then they'll be like, okay, but you're literally like laughing and getting in his face still. So obviously you calmed down a little bit as more people came over, especially when the older group of people came over. And they were just like, yeah, I guess so. So it very much spoke to the mob mentality of the more people that came over, regardless of if they did anything,
you don't know whose side they're on as the one person that they're all surrounding.
Correct.
I mean, it's fear of imminent bodily harm or death was definitely in his favor.
And I disagree with you, Chris Kress. You're saying before it broke out, no. Before physical, maybe, but a fight doesn't necessarily have to mean there's physical already. Obviously, it had to already have been happening for him to send his sons over, right? You're seeing a situation, you're seeing a group of kids surrounding one, screaming, waving their hands in their face, getting everyone's attention. That is the fight already starting out, and you're sending your kids over there. Now, you could disagree as far as, well, he was trying to help. That's great, but as a parent, I just wouldn't ever do that. And so this is one of his sons, and it's Dante, and he's the son of Quentin, and he testified on the second day of trial. He said he punched Miu after Miu hit Maddie Cohen. He was stabbed during the fight, as was his brother. Now, this is what I'm trying to say to you guys as far as there was sketchy testimony. He never punched Miu. So you see him testifying on the stand, and his original statements to police was that after he saw Miu punch this girl in the face, he punched Miu, but he never did. So he had to admit, it's how I remember it, but now I know it never happened. This happened consistently with a lot of the prosecution's witnesses, these kids.
I didn't watch any of this. Did any of these kids take like PBTs, or were they tested? Do you know how drunk they were?
I don't know about smoking. And again, I didn't watch the full trial. I just found out about this a few days ago. But what I did watch is I think they said that the victim, Isaac, who passed, had like a 0.2 something blood alcohol limit, and they said he was most likely the most sober one.
Yeah. Okay. They were high and drunk. Yeah. They all admitted it.
It was high. It's 0.08 in Wisconsin, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 0.08.
Yeah. For a 21-year-old.
Right. Yep. Well, and they were under 21, so it's 0.00 when you're under 21.
Yep, it's 0.0.
Is the other stuff they were doing legal there?
Weed is not legal here yet. No, it's not.
Okay.
So then you have Anthony Tony Carlson, who I feel bad for Tony, because I really think he was genuinely trying, like even in the video, he was genuinely trying to break it up, and then he fell victim to it. And Tony is, again, this other son of Quentin. He was stabbed on the Apple River, as was his younger brother, Dante. Tony testified on the third day of trial. Then we have Landon Wire, who was tubing with Isaac Schumann's group and testified on the second day of trial. We have Gabriella. I cannot pronounce that last name. And Gabriella was the 13th witness to testify. She was tubing with the Carlson group, and she called 911 the day of the fight on the river. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the one who, I'm sorry. This is the witness who claimed just that same month he made a police statement, and he said that Nicolae came from the woods and was wearing the hat and stuff. It wasn't the other witness, so I apologize for getting that mixed up. It was him.
You're right.
And yeah, Larison Davis, and thank you for the person in the chat that corrected me. A tuber on the Apple River and witness was the 15th person to testify in the trial. He recorded some cell phone video of the Apple River incident, and he was taking selfie Snapchat video as the Miu encounter was happening behind him. He had just made a damn police statement a month before this, and it was nowhere near accurate. It makes you wonder why so many inconsistencies. We have Sheena. She was the 16th person to testify. She was a tuber in the Carlson group. Eric Von Williams, tubing down the river with Nicolae's group, but he'd met Miu the day they got to the river. He is the 17th person to testify. Janelle, 18th person to testify. She was part of the Carlson tubing group. Andrea, she is a registered nurse out tubing with her family that day. She realized someone was hurt and then jumped to assist Isaac, who unfortunately would later pass. Then we have Carl Anderson and Brian Semstead, who were prosecuting the case. And then we have Aaron Nelson and Corey Chirafisi, who are Miu's attorneys. And Corey is the Madison-based attorney and notably successfully defended Kyle Rittenhouse. I thought that was interesting. And we have Judge Michael Waterman. So I'm going to pull up the video now. Again, trigger warning. This video includes very graphic material, and it's very sensitive. So viewer discretion is advised. Okay, so let me pull this.
Yeah, it's a video that, even though you don't necessarily see the gory details of this, you can kind of hear both sides. You kind of hear the instigating on one side. You see the potential of the fights of being pushed in the water and different things like that, and the back and forth. So it is something to just, like Melissa said.
It doesn't matter how many times you see it, it still affects you.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It makes my stomach drop when I see it.
Yeah, it makes me feel icky, and I've seen it like 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. It gives me bad anxiety too, Meg.
Okay,
Oh, thank you, Melanie.
This move to here, and then I guess I'll do it like this. Okay. So again, disturbing images and video being played. If you cannot, handle it, just click off and just come back shortly after. So context again, Nicolae, you could see he has his goggles, his scuba gear. He is in his swimming trunks. In his pocket, he has his pocket knife clipped in. He is walking around this group of tubers looking for his friend's phone. His group, with his wife and his friends, are off down the river more. But you're going to see different groups kind of tube together. But where the video is being shot, that is from the perspective of the first group that is interacting with Nicolae. And so, yeah.
Is there a map anywhere that shows where on the river this happened?
I could look. I could definitely look.
Because it'd be interesting to know if it was at the end of the float.
They said it was under that one bridge.
Well, there's like 10 bridges you go under.
No, I mean, they said the name of the bridge on the article that MJ was reading.
Oh, I wonder if that's the main bridge in town. Then they were at the end. If they were
I'll
at the
go-
end, that they've been drinking for 3 hours.
It was close to the end.
Was it?
Well, it had to have been because they arrived there at around 12:45 to start, and it was already 3:30ish. When this happened.
That's the end of the river. So they
Of course, that
were.
it happened by the Sunset Bridge.
If they were winding down and getting to the end, the party had been going solid for 3 hours. And if they're blowing 0.28, that's 0.28 is pretty high for a kid. It's a lot of booze to handle.
He may have said, I'm looking for a phone. And now that we know he speaks with a heavy accent, right? If they're drinking, you have the water flowing, maybe one of them was like, did he just say he's looking for girls? Like you could have just misheard it. And
I
then
thought he
ran
said
with
looking
that.
for goggles, and goggles sounded like girls.
Yeah, something. He may have said it. Okay, here we go.
Whoa! Hey, what's your way? Oh God! We up! What are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about?
So that was the only part. So really, where I see Nicolae being what could be perceived as the aggressor. He comes running up. Yeah, he puts his hands on the two. I don't know if he puts his hands on any of them, but in my interpretation of it is he thought he spotted his friend's phone and these Riley group of kids had it. But then only when he got up real close, he realized, oh, no, that wasn't it. Is that how you guys perceive it?
Yeah, I think that's accurate. And I think you're onto something with them misunderstanding the way he was speaking, too. You can kind of hear him laughing.
Yeah.
I didn't really catch that yesterday, so that's a good catch.
Yeah.
Get away from us! What? What's going on with y'all, homie? He's on camera. Tripping. 4K. He's on 4K. Yo, the new iPhone got that good quality. What do you say? Yeah, what the hell?
Okay, this is the part where everything really shifts. I don't know what he said, but it's clear that neither did the kid. The kid didn't know what he said either. But now all of a sudden a group is starting to come up and the yelling is happening, and he was walking away, Michelle, and the mistake that was made is he ended up coming back. And that is a factor in why maybe the jury saw you had an opportunity to leave before it escalated, but well, that's an argument. Yeah, he may have had an opportunity to leave, but does that mean that he can't hold his ground once it did get physical? I don't know. This is why I'm really hung up on this.
But his group was on the other side of them. Where is he going to go?
His group.
He had to go back the other way to get to his group.
That's a great point, Tess. His group, his original group, is going the other way, so he could only go back so far. He's walking upstream because the phone would still be that way.
Who is this? Yes.
Now, real quick. When it pan this way, you could see there's the other group. I think it's the Carlson group over here. I think is that the Carlson group?
That's his group right there. The Carlson group is more to the right of the screen.
Oh, okay. So they're all in different groups, but eventually two groups come and merge as one. No, that must be the Carlson group, because see, they came from that group. I don't even think you could see his group. It's very farther back, because see, the woman just came from that side.
Okay, then maybe I'm wrong. I can admit
I might be too.
Maybe they're on that side, but down farther, because I know they're on that side and on like the left hand side of the river when you're looking at them from the camera screen.
Yes.
The culture! Who is that? Where's the culture? Who is that? Who the hell is?
So now this woman comes up and you could see she's doing the mom leave, like she doesn't know what's going on. All of a sudden, these kids are getting rowdy. They're saying this weirdo guy. And yeah, he may appear to be like shady, walking around outside of a group, just like looking and stuff. So she comes over and this is where it really escalates. And it's
That's
like,
Madison.
Leave. Then everyone's getting louder. I need you guys to keep this as a factor of how would Nicolae feel in this situation? They're all screaming. They're all being rowdy. You got people from the left, people from the right coming. Thank you so much, Michelle. That's very kind of you. Michelle just gifted 5 memberships. Congratulations to our newest members. Please thank Michelle in the chat if you received a membership. Thank you. Hi, Zero Dark 30. He may have said that. I didn't get to listen to his full testimony, but that's what Tess was saying, right? That he may have slipped and used the raft. We could go back and watch
Correct.
it.
That's what he says. He slipped and kind of fell forward onto the raft.
Okay, well, we'll go back and we'll watch it. But yeah, he was being circled.
What is the culture? Who is that? Who the hell is this?
You hear that?
Sorry, you go and then I'll tell you one thing.
No, they were screaming, he said he was looking for little girls. He said he was looking for little girls. That's a big statement to fucking make. And they start calling him things like the P word and stuff, like not okay. So it is escalating. Okay, go ahead, Tess.
When he waves, his hand, that's his group that he's waving at.
Yes.
Like you'll see that, yeah, just for context.
And they're kind of, he kind of puts his hands up to notify his friend group, like, I need you,
Right.
Come on.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. We're not us out. I even have that part on camera. What the hell is this guy's problem, bro? We're trying to have fun.
Right there. He waves. You can see he makes eye contact with the group down the river. That's his original friend group. As far as they knew, he just walked to go get a phone. And now they would have been hearing the yelling, the screaming. So he's trying to get their attention, kind of like, come over here and help me out here. He's probably like, in his mind, I'm not looking for little girls. Like, I'm looking for my friend's freaking phone, okay?
Mm-hmm. And he said that he thought when Madison came over, she was older and she would help him de-escalate the situation. And instead, she escalated the situation and made it worse.
Well, Zero Dark 30, I don't know, but I don't see him with the damn snorkel on, right? He had equipment in case he needed it, but it's not like we saw him with it on his face. He's clearly just visibly looking right now. Now look, more people are walking over. Look at this. Right here. This is where I could see the anxiety in his eyes because they're all screaming. Now they're all in an almost full circle around him. Like, I know the camera is shaky and all over the place, but there is a lot of people and there's more walking over. And when they're screaming like that, are we supposed to believe he did not feel threatened? Okay, you got him on your left, you got him on your right, you got him in front of you. They're all screaming, they're waving their hands in his face. Okay, that is a very high, stressful, anxiety-ridden situation. Look at that. What was that? He was pushed? Was he pushed first by her? Look at her. First contact is made right there. First contact is made right there, which girls do feel like they could put their hands on men, and I don't agree with that shit, okay? Do not put your hands on anyone without expectations of them defending themselves. But she walks over. She wasn't even originally in the situation, and this is where it went wrong. She walks over, she puts her hands on him, but you have a group surrounding him screaming. Hands are flying, like they're everywhere, and she put her hands on him first. So that's one person put their hands on him. Look at that. Bam. He's pushed and he's hit. Now, again, this is where the stabbings are going to occur. So final warning for anybody watching who may not want to see this. But right there, you saw how many people are surrounding him. The girl puts her hands first. You see a hand on his back right now. Hands on him first. You are surrounded. He is then knocked into the water. He fully face submerged down into the water, okay? I need you to watch that. He went underwater, his face, okay? And then he comes up, and then he's hit, okay? Down, hit. You have to get up you cannot be down when you're being attacked. You have to, that desire to get up as soon as you can, because if you're not on your feet, and I can't imagine how scary it is with water as a factor too.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have another person put her hands on him. Look, no, him. He comes, puts his hands on him, and pushes him again. Okay? So that is now 3 separate people who have put their hands on him. You have to look at it from Nicolae's perspective. You have a group surrounding you. You have a girl put her hands on you first, then boom, you're pushed back and you fall down. And then the moment you lift your head up, boom, you're smacked. And then now as you're trying to get up, you have this kid pushing you on the back. You don't know who is touching you, how many, where, what is going on. You cannot perceive. Everyone is screaming, yeah. The desire to get up, that need to get up and defend yourself. I think it's really easy to sit here from an outside perspective and say, well, he didn't need to pull out the knife. He was surrounded. You don't know. What is he supposed to do? Get up and hope that nobody else is going to put their hands on him? He would be screwed if they all start hitting him and starting jumping on. I do not like it. What do you guys think before I proceed?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I've said this to you when we've talked behind the scenes about this too, of like the instigation and everything that leads up to all this is so much. And it's like, until you're in that situation, you can't say, I would have walked away or I would have done this, because in that moment, he could have been fearing for his life. We don't know.
Yeah.
But the thing is it was him versus this entire group of people. So regardless of if he was scared for his life, it was still over 5+ people against 1.
Yes. And I love that, Harlot, because Harlot says, and you can't feel very much in the moment either. He might not have been able to tell if that was a slap or a punch. Adrenaline is an amazing thing. And that is a great point, because something you are going to see the victims of the stabbing say, I was actually surprised with how each, at least 2 of them said, I didn't even know I was stabbed. I thought he punched me. And in my head, I was like, how in the world does a stab feel like a punch? But when your adrenaline is rushing and your brain never registered there was a knife, I guess it makes sense, oh, I thought I was punched, but that's my point, is he doesn't know. He just your brain isn't processing. All he knows is he's down in the water. He's getting hit. His back is being touched. Is this, you're not able to decipher what is happening. All you know, though, is that you are surrounded and they are screaming and they are literally flaying their arms. That must have been terrifying.
Well, and then I think too, because just like reading chat with you guys, you also have to take into account that they could have also walked away. Everyone had the ability to walk away from this situation, and unfortunately, no one did. So once it got to this point, it doesn't matter who could have potentially walked away here or walked away there. I mean, obviously it matters, but at this point, when this is happening at this very second, is it fight or flight? at this very second, does he have the opportunity to walk away?
Mm-hmm.
Not 20 minutes ago did he have the opportunity, or 20 minutes ago did they have the opportunity.
Yes.
It's this very moment. Because obviously, this could have not escalated at all.
Yes.
Like, both sides could have walked away. But unfortunately, it got to this point. But in this very point, like, what is going, like, at this very point, is he fearing for his life?
Well, he didn't go around, and I like that there are different opinions. You know, like there are Zero Dark 30 who says he wasn't surrounded. Shore is behind him. Chris says he started to walk away and came back to the boys. Yes, he did. But in this moment, and just like Mallory kind of said, doesn't really matter what happened a few minutes before this. What happened now? And are we not going to acknowledge that 3 different people put their hands and he assaulted him first? To say, well, the Shore was behind him. Well, did he not become disoriented when he got knocked into the water, hit in the face, and now he has someone behind him? Is he supposed to stand up and let me take a look around and see, am I fully surrounded or only 3/4 surrounded? I think you're not allowing room for the adrenaline and the disorganized thoughts and the now, what do I got to do? You know, he didn't have much time to make a choice.
Yeah. And to Zero Dark 30's why lie to the police if he was truly defending himself? You're right on that. That's one of the parts of this, of the fact of getting rid of the weapon and stuff like that after that. It's like, okay, that doesn't make sense. And that's why I've told Melissa this and everything. Like, I don't know necessarily where I stand in this still till this day. I see things on both sides that were done wrong. And I said from the beginning, the younger teens, or the teens, did not have to instigate the situation. I think they made it a lot worse. But do I think that he necessarily needed to use a knife? No, but I'm also not in his situation of, he doesn't know what they have. He doesn't know these people. He doesn't know that they're just kids being kids drunk. He doesn't know.
He couldn't fight them. And this is why I said, please, that quadruple bypass, try to see it from his perspective. And I'm not 100% defending him here, but I take it as a factor. He is not in his prime, okay? He just really got to the place where, he could go out and do these physical activities. He got a second chance at life. And when you have to say, well, he didn't have to use a knife, I agree, but I can see the need to, like, even if he went hands-on, do you think that would have been a hands-on fight? If he would have pushed anyone back, he would have had 10 on top of him. And so he may have went towards that. I think it's fair to say he perceived his life at being at risk right now. You don't know.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And there are countless
any
videos
class
on
you
the
go
internet.
to,
yeah,
any class you go to for concealed carry or permit to carry will tell you this is where your life becomes endangered and unknown. When you're that unnumbered, you do not know what those people have or what they're capable of.
Yes. And he was outnumbered, baby. He was outnumbered.
By
and we've
what?
seen it over and over.
13 people?
Yeah. There was a lot.
Right. Plus also taking into account that the storyline that the teens were saying, they happened to delete all of the information supporting their story of events. Their timeline of
why did they do that?
He did this. Well, right. So there is a lot to it. And when this video came out, I remember, because who was I talking to about this? It might have been you, Melissa. When I said, like, up until the trial, even just locally, I remember just hearing this guy went crazy on the river and stabbed a bunch of people.
I thought
that was all I heard.
Guilty. Yes, that was, and even in because Christina Randall did a video and she said that was literally the talk and narrative for the longest time, is that there was a crazy man on the river who was just stabbing people.
Yeah, and then when you see the video, you're like, this is nothing. Like, even the local news was covering it at the time, or the
totally
local
different
talk on social media was a complete 180 of what actually happened.
Right. We went into it thinking he disemboweled a kid and for no reason.
Yes.
Well,
I went in, he's guilty as heck. That's how I went into this trial.
They made it sound like it was literally just some guy went crazy on the river and was started stabbing a bunch of kids. That's literally how it was portrayed.
That's how I perceived it.
For the
Yeah.
last 2 years.
Yes. Until this video came out and the trial kept saying it, it literally, and I was still to this day, like, surprised at how much this video actually shows.
Right.
And how, like, I wonder how many people had this though before court, because
I was
these are
going to
kids
ask.
who
So
had
it's
to have
so
passed it
interesting.
around.
It's so interesting hearing that you guys actually were close enough to where you heard the talk and the chatter. I love that because that's very insightful. This video was not released until trial.
No.
See, oh wow.
Really surprised it didn't make its way around local channels, to tell you
Well,
the truth.
right.
yeah.
With some of the crime pages we have on Twitter and stuff around here, I'm
Oh.
really surprised. Really surprised.
And hi, Scotty.
But I wonder if that's
yeah.
for a reason. You know, I wonder if they didn't do that for a reason.
I
know?
think though too that the reason it
Uh-huh.
was so skewed was because of the ages of everything.
Yes,
because these
right.
were potentially juniors in high school going into their senior
From
year.
Stillwater.
They're not going to allow people to change a narrative to say that the kids were the reason that this happened.
From
Right.
Stillwater. And you have to admit that's something in the cities. They're kids from Stillwater, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and that's
it's the wealthy suburb where, you know, it's
Yeah.
Stillwater.
They need better cell phone towers there, though, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
well, and that's why I think their ages are a huge factor in why the jury made their decision. Because if this was a group of grown adults, male adults, I don't think the decision would have been made. But just to circle back around to, well, what about him lying? I don't. That's a thing I got hung up on too. But I'll be honest, fear, right?
Yeah.
I can rationalize in my head that it doesn't have to be so much malicious intent, you know, like it doesn't have to be so much you knew you did wrong versus, oh my God, what just happened? You're in shock. And then your initial reaction is to ditch it. And what I don't know what you're talking about. You know, have you ever not made a mistake and then your initial response is, no, it wasn't me, you know, and then even after a moment, you're like, why did I just do that? I don't know. Like I think that it can be rationalized as far as it was impulsive and he was in shock and his gut reaction is to toss that because what just happened? Like, how bad was that? I don't even know. Not defending it, but I'm just saying I can see that as a possibility.
Psychologically, he's removing himself from the situation. You
Correct.
know,
and I think
all humans do it. We all do it.
Yeah, well, and it kind of reminds me of like TV shows where like something happens accidentally and they're covered in blood and they go and they just start washing it off as fast as they can, even if they're not. It's just like the fear of something that they just experienced that I need to get everything away from me of what just happened. And I think that could have possibly also done it. But also when I did bring up Google Earth showing where it was.
Oh, yeah.
So whenever we're done with the video, I can show that too.
Okay. And yes, thank you, Michelle. No one is wrong, and we're all entitled to our own opinions. I love that we respect all opinions here. That's what makes it amazing, is that we could all have different opinions. But I very much more, and again, nobody wins here. Nobody wins. I don't think this should have happened to those kids at all. But I think this is the definition of being young and stupid and the type of situations you could get caught in, and why we need to always urge our children not to do right, like as much as you can, but they're just going to be young and silly, right? And then drinking and stuff, this is a recipe for disaster. But at the end of the day, the thing I am focusing on is, do I think he felt like his life was threatened? I'm separating the injuries, I'm separating the ages, because that is what you're supposed to do. Did he feel in this moment that his life was being threatened and he had to defend himself? I say yes, I really do.
Right.
Yeah.
Had that happened on dry land anywhere around here,
right,
there'd be a lot of dead kids.
It's crazy because in over half the states in our country, the stand your ground laws, he wouldn't have never gone to trial.
Yeah, Wisconsin,
but we don't have them here in Wisconsin. There are no.
We don't have them in Minnesota either.
Christina Randall said, we're in Florida, we're at stand your ground. If you proceed, he wouldn't have probably even been charged.
In Iowa, and I mean, there's so many states that have them, and Minnesota and Wisconsin don't. It would be totally different. And, you know, I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yep.
And I know, speaking personally on all the training that I've had, I would have been in imminent fear of my life.
I would have
With that
100%.
many people surrounding me, I would have done anything I could do
Me
People
too.
to
put their
attempt to
hands.
retreat. And if I couldn't retreat, then the fight would have been on.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, do I think he could have pulled the knife out and kind of like waved it and like kind of try to back up? But at the same time, when you're dealing, I think with how many people he was dealing with, that is a huge factor. People can overtake someone. And I don't think it's fair. Your brain does not register in those moments. And all he knows is he was being knocked, he was getting hit. They were literally coming from different angles. So you feel people, one person has two hands, putting them on one person's body. He just got knocked into the water. He just got hit. Your brain rattles for a second. You're not able to perceive who's touching you, where, this, that. Like, it must have been so stressful.
Yeah.
But okay, so here we go again. This is the moment of the stabbings. If you do not want to watch, click off now. But we're gonna proceed. First stab right there.
He ain't a woman. He ain't a woman. No, he ain't a woman. He ain't a woman. You killed him. He's dying. He's dying, bro. What? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Are we serious? Is this real? Oh my God. Who is that? Oh my God. Oh my God. Is this real? Oh my God. Oh my God, what the fuck? Is this real? Like, that's not bark! That's not bark! That's not bark! That's not bark! That's not Isaac! Oh my God! Oh my God! This isn't real!
Now, my heart breaks because I do not think those kids at all thought this was going to be the situation that was going to happen, right? And
they
it
went from
became
hammered to reality in a split second.
yes.
Yeah.
And how fast that went. How fast it went from fucking around to there is blood in this water. Okay? But if you pay attention, he's not lunging at people. He's not going out of his way. He is, you put your hands on me, dude, boo. You know, he's just, but the injuries were so significant. So significant.
Well, and I think too, they're also at an age where I know when I was their age, like, I didn't necessarily put my future consequences into what I was doing at that time. Like, I didn't realize that something I was doing at that time could affect my entire future. And I think it's just the age of being careless and a teenager and, you know, all this stuff. Like, they're like, oh, we're just going to all hang out till senior year. And so I don't think it got to be real until they started seeing the blood in the water. Yeah, invincible.
And not to be old school, but the kids now, I think a lot of them are just desensitized to a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
They see the stuff on the internet. They see these kids punching old people and they get TikTok famous. And, you know, it's like a whole different mindset. And I just don't think they get the gravity of certain situations. I just don't think they do.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I hate you at this for disagreeing, but what do you mean by that girl wasn't life-threatening? You can't just look at one of the people and say, well, was she? You have to perceive, and sorry, I'm not saying it with an attitude, just how I talk, but you have to perceive it from his perspective. It wasn't just, oh, are you threatening? No. There's 15 people around him. She put her hands on him. Then he gets pushed. Then he gets hit. Then you have I don't think to sit there and be like, oh, well, was his brain able to recognize who was a threat and who wasn't? No, the threat was the mob of them. The threat was his being outnumbered. 3 of them physically put their hands on him. He did not go out his way. He was hitting people directly next to him that he perceived was a threat. Now, do I think 5 people need to get? No, but I can see how his brain was processing or not processing things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and they lied. Okay. There's no doubt about that. And if you guys want to take the time and go through the trial and listen to the prosecution's witnesses, it was more like defense witnesses, because they were very inconsistent and they gave false statements. See, I don't see that, like we literally, this entire video is 3 minutes long. And it starts with him first approaching. So to say he had ample time, I don't perceive it. Do I think he never should have lunged towards the kids thinking he saw the phone? Yeah, absolutely. I don't think he should have done that. Do I think the kids should have just all of a sudden started instigating and calling him the P word and you're looking and surrounding him? No. Did the friends ever have to put their hands on him? No. Did the girl ever have to walk over and get in his face? And it's always going to be escalated now when you have a young girl and a grown-ass male. We could sit here all day and you should have done this or you shouldn't have done that. But the point is it comes down to he was assaulted, and did he perceive like his life was in danger? Yes or no? It's really down to being that simple.
Well, and also taking into account that I know someone had said it wasn't 20 minutes. That was just me being, overly exaggerating. But even in the 4 minutes, I think it would come down to when exactly did he take the knife out?
Yeah.
And at that very point, was he afraid for his life?
You can see when he actually takes the knife out.
Yeah.
So, okay. So watch. He does not. Well, maybe I should jump back to that. He does not have the knife in his hands at this point. Look, his left hand up, no knife. You see, his hand kind of goes to his pocket, but he does not do anything because he has nothing in his hands. He pushes him. Push. He's down. Nothing in his hands hit. Then he goes and he has it in his hand at that point. So let me jump back. I think as he went down, his hand was going in his pocket. Boom. Hand in his pocket. Got it out of his right hand. He got up. First stab. So he didn't have that knife in his hand until he was pushed down. And that was absolutely fair to take that knife out, in my opinion. I don't perceive it as, okay, listen, I don't like when people associate smiling with naturally being happy. I smile when I am very uncomfortable. I do. I smile when I probably laugh and smile at very inappropriate times. I don't know why. It's just what I do. So the way I saw him smiling was kind of in disbelief that this was happening, like looking at him like, are you fucking kidding? Like, what is happening? That's how I perceive it. You guys let me know how you perceive it, Mallory, Alan, and Tess.
I did as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I had to step away for a minute. I missed about the last 5 minutes.
Well, we were saying why was he smiling? He had a smirk in it, but I perceived that as kind of disbelief that this was happening, oh my God, like I don't associate that with, oh, well, you must have been happy and enjoying this. No.
I don't think anybody was enjoying that situation whatsoever. Mm-hmm. I really don't.
Mm-mm.
I think that older guy was scared shitless.
I agree.
Think he was in the water, surrounded, and it's hard to armchair quarterback something like this. It really is.
Did they thistle? Because look, Thistle says in court they had a still shot of him holding the knife when the girl pushed him before he went down. So let me go
Yeah,
back.
Chris Quest says the same thing.
I was going to mention there was one frame in there where you could actually see the totality of the knife in his hand.
Oh, okay.
But it's like a frame.
Okay. Well, then I apologize if I'm wrong on that. Hold on. Let me go back.
And I just had to reload everything on my computer. I don't have any video editing software right now, or I'd grab it and pull out a still image of it. Scotty might be able to do it.
You're good. Thank you. Okay, here, let me scroll
down. Who is that? Who the hell is this?
He doesn't have anything there. Damn, this banner is over
They
there.
need to move that Chiron out of the way. I hate
Oh, hold on. Wait. I can't move that.
No, it's WCCO.
Yeah, I can't move that. I wish I could. Oh, I don't see anything in his hand right now.
I thought he was pushed once first before he had it out. But
yeah, no one is left. No one is right.
His hands are empty right now.
Yeah. That left hand's empty. Still. That's when it looks like
he's going in there now.
Yeah. Look at all of them. You're telling me
he looks uncomfortable.
It is very uncomfortable. And at that point, I don't know, just the way the camera pans around and it's almost like he's like looking over his shoulder, like where are they coming from? You know,
I think
like,
he's got it in his hand right there.
Yeah, that would make sense then, and
just
I
slid
apologize.
it out of his pocket right there. It's right behind that Chiron. I wish that stupid thing wasn't there.
You too, Zero Dark 30. Thank you for coming and sharing your thoughts.
But then you also look at those kids and they just are enamored with what is happening.
Yes. So, okay, so he would have it here, and this still thing, unfortunately, is over it. Thank you for the correction.
But there is a frame that shows it in his hand. It's coming up.
Oh, I thought I think I might have saw it underneath the damn banner.
Yep.
Oh.
That's not the one I'm referring to, but I think you might have caught another one.
I thought they said that's
right
where
there.
he was touching his pocket to get it out, correct?
No, he already touched it.
I think it's in. I think he may have
it's not open yet.
It's out but not open. Yeah.
It's out but not open. Now, is it like? Do you have to how do you open it? Do you flip it up?
I don't know. That's what I was asking at the beginning.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But even because I did see some still shots in the trial, even when he's holding it, you don't see it that much because his hand is covering. I don't know what to call it, Al. What do you call the part that's not the blade? Like the handle? His hand is like covering most of the handle, so it's just the blade part that sticks out.
Yeah.
Come on! It's like that would be a perfect damn image without the damn thing over it.
Damn it, WCCO.
Is this a female?
Yeah, I think so.
Ring? Yep, so that's another touch. Okay. Oh, is that when he stabs her first? Yes. Okay. That's the first stab, I think. Because she was stabbed first. Remember I said going through because in that
the girl got stabbed first.
Yes, and she didn't know, and she walked away, and she felt like it was a punch. She felt like it was a punch. And it wasn't until she looked down and saw blood.
Hang on, I got a video. I'm just trying to figure out how to show it to you.
So look. She puts her hands on him, and then look at his arm. Wait.
But she doesn't go down for it yet.
No, that wouldn't be then.
No. You can see the part as it keeps going. When she goes back and you see her hands go down. It's like as he comes up right here, he gets a bunch of people.
Stabs Isaac.
The knife
That's
is not
him.
in his hand there because he uses his hand to get up.
No, it had to.
No,
have been
that
'cause he
was the
came
first.
up and
that was when
stabbed.
he
That was the
stabbed
first stab.
Yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't the first stab. I'm sorry, because apparently this girl stabbed first, but I don't see it.
But you see it when they back up here. You can see that she's already closer to the shoreline, and you can see kind of the blood dripping down from her.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. How does he get up?
Because you can see as they
He's
back
got it
up.
in his hand right
no,
there.
it's right,
Right
there.
there,
You can see
yeah.
it.
I sent you a video of how they open.
And this
Right?
kid, I said I felt bad for him because you see him pushing, stop, like he's trying to push them away and to de-escalate, and he got stabbed. I feel bad for that.
I want to. Do you know which one it was? That was. It was the one in the pink and blue shorts. Was he the one that was killed?
Isaac.
You guys have any-
Yeah,
oh,
Isaac.
I know it was
don't
Isaac,
remember
but
in the video.
was he in the pink, half blue?
Yeah, he had blue shorts on.
Oh, purple shorts, white hat. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Is she hit at this
Right
point?
here. Yeah. So you'll see here when she starts to walk back, she's
Yes.
holding
there.
her side. Look.
Yep.
So
See, it doesn't capture everything.
no. But this is when you notice she notices. So I'm wondering if it happened right here. Because
Then-
she's just now, and you see her go up and her friend go up to her as this keeps playing. And she's like looking down like, holy shit, I'm bleeding.
Yes.
Purple
So
shorts,
I
white
think
hat. Okay.
this like when she was the interview, and I'll play it for you right after, but I think the interview that she did from the hospital, but it was a couple of days after. I think she may have just had it wrong because she said I was the first who was stabbed, but I don't think she was because the other one was.
Yeah, I don't think she realized that I don't think anyone realized the other guy was stabbed at this point.
Yeah. See, he hits him twice. You see the 2 arm jabs? But he was trying to de-escalate. 1, 2. And look at her face. Like, she's like, you know, oh my goodness.
He still said, you hit a woman. And then he's just stabbing as they're going at it.
And he's falling, kind of stumbling.
It's mind-blowing how little effort it takes.
Yep.
And
And
how
I'll
much
show you
damage
you
just...
see.
Yeah, and how much damage just what we saw. What is that?
That's the knife, same type of knife.
Is it?
Yeah,
Is this your video?
That's what I carry. Yeah.
Thank you, Al.
Can you show it
Thank
open?
you.
Had to hit play.
How do I hit? Hey, how do I hit play? How can I do that?
It should be on the screen, can't
What'd
you?
you do to my thing? How can I control your video?
I think you always can, can't you?
No!
No, I actually shared the video, not the screen.
You shared a video, not this. I've never. This is on my screen. I control. Pause, play. How'd you do that?
Just go to present and select share video file.
Yeah, because
See?
he's sharing the file, not the screen.
I've never
I
done
had to
it.
create it with my phone and dump it on my desktop, and then I could send it to you. But
Right,
you see how fast
KDP.
that is to open? That's not a spring. It's spring assisted, which makes it not a switchblade.
Okay.
Is that the one where you have to like push over the thing on the inside to be able to
No,
push it
there's
back
just
down?
there's a very small button underneath my thumb,
Yeah,
and you just push it open.
but to
The
get it
weight of
back
the blade.
down.
Then there's a lock on the inside of the handle.
Yeah.
that you have to push over and then fold it back
Okay,
together.
yeah.
It snaps
I
into
have one of
place.
those too then. Yeah.
It's
But
not. How sharp did he have it, Al?
well, I'll tell you what. I'm not obsessive with my sharpening, but I keep my knife pretty sharp. And when I saw that video the first time, I was like, "Holy shit, it's as sharp as they get." I've never had my knife that sharp. My deer knife isn't even that sharp.
I mean, that's like
Close, but not that sharp.
how do you get it that sharp? Like
Constantly stoning it, just constant sharpening. But like someone mentioned in the chat, there's a lot of metal that when you over sharpen it, it'll actually make it dull. So there's
Yeah,
a
is your
fine
blade
line.
serrated?
Mine is serrated towards the bottom. Yep.
And the one I have is not, and it's a little
I
bit
have one
longer
that's
than
not
his.
serrated.
Yeah, and mine's not serrated.
This is
Jeez.
exactly the legal limit in Minnesota.
Well, shit.
Well, see, I don't agree, Dave Bass, because Dave Bass says, and as appalling as the kids behave, provocation does not justify him attacking. It does not equate to self-defense. I don't perceive him as attacking.
It's the definition of self-defense.
Self-defense is 3 different people that we could see minimum already put their hands on him. How is that not? He didn't do that.
Yeah.
Let me play for you the girl from the hospital bed. This is days after, okay? And she'll explain to you how she perceived it.
Do you have that one?
Yes, right here.
With AI, we can unlock endless targeting potential. Now, spot creation takes just minutes. Tap into Flex to unleash the possibilities. Reach a CTV advertising specialist today. Connect with Flex.com.
So like on my left side, I was punctured a little bit in my left lung, and then he kind of messed up my diaphragm. So I actually have about 30 staples going from my belly button up my stomach, where they had to go in to fix my diaphragm. And then they had to put in a chest tube. And then I did have a nose tube that kind of went all the way through. So I'll kind of give, like I said, this is my side of the story. This is nobody else's. I'm not willing to give out a lot of names, anything like that. And to be honest, I was drinking that day. So things are blurry. I don't have a whole lot to say because I was the first victim. So I kind of just had paid attention to myself at the end of it. But I will give from what I'm aware of what happened. So we were tubing. I was probably with about 10 other people, a mix of girls and boys. And one of the boys, when we were tubing down the river, had said that a group had looked uncomfortable. And I don't recall if it was I thought it was a group of girls that they had said was uncomfortable. So my other friends and I just kind of hung out on the tube. A couple of the boys left to go kind of see this group and figure out what was going on. And it was a little bit of time. I don't know how much time in between, but finally I was like, all right, let's go see what's going on. I asked a couple of my girlfriends to come with me. We went over to the group, and I don't know who had said something, but somebody had mentioned something about there being an older man there, and they thought he was kind of creepy, being a little weird, asking for like inappropriate things like for younger women and things like that. That's what I had heard. I don't know if that's exactly true. But after that point, a friend of mine had kind of, I think, went up to the older man, or he came up to us. I don't know that exact point. But she had told him, you need to leave, like, you need to go, you need to get away. And he kind of stood there for a second and then punched her in the face. And after that, it was still a little bit blurry for me. I'm still trying to put those pieces together. But what I remember is I'm like, oh my God, like, are you okay? Like, that was like not what I expected to happen to you. And then I don't know if I said something to the older man. I don't know if I had hit him because I was upset, or if somebody else had came and hit him. But I just remember him kind of turning towards me, and we're both kind of staring at each other, probably a couple feet away from each other at most. And he kind of just stared at me for a second, and he pretty much like, not like lunged at me, but kind of just like leaned forward a little bit. And I thought he had punched me in the stomach. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, I was telling my friends, I was like, I think he he punched me really hard. Like, this feels weird. And we both had looked down, and I instantly was bleeding. I obviously was stabbed like instantly. I didn't really see a knife. I recall maybe something kind of poking out of his fingers, kind of like this, holding down by his side, but I don't recall for sure if it was a blade or not. My friend instantly, saw that I was bleeding out and yelled to my other friends, "You need to call 911." And to be honest, after that, no idea what happened. I remember holding my wound, kind of walking around, just kind of like asking everybody, like, what do I do? Do I walk? Do I go find help? Do I lay down on a tube? Like, I feel like I'm dying. Like, what do I do? Everybody's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to do. I honestly didn't even know anybody else was stabbed. I was not paying attention to any of that. I was focused on myself because I was so scared and just so worked up and anxious. I honestly have no idea. Like I said, I was drinking, so like I wasn't even focused on what was going on. I just remember them saying that a group had felt uncomfortable, kind of just hanging out for a second and then getting off our tubes ourselves and kind of going over there. But it's really a lot blurrier than I thought it was going to be for me. Every day I try to put some more pieces back together, and I can't.
And did he go and like cold cock that girl from your memory, or was she lipping off to him? Like all of a sudden you just see the punch get thrown?
Pretty much, I just remember her saying, like, you need to go. Like, go. And he literally just, boom. At first, I thought he had slapped her because I was, like I said, I was just kind of not comprehensive. But no, he did end up punching her. So I'm pissed. I am very, 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 very angry because I have to almost like relive my life and relearn how to live. I have to have people help me shower, go to the bathroom. I choke on water sometimes, like just like every little thing like that. It's insane that things can escalate so fast and that people just don't care about anybody in this world. And the world is just getting sadder and sadder. It's a very, very scary place to live in, and it makes me want to stay home for the rest of my life. So I'm more angry than I am sad. I mean, I have my moments, like I said, but I am very, very angry. I mean, I'm very happy that I was able to kind of go over and help the situation, but I'm kind of angry at myself at the same time for even getting involved.
So she said, I was the first one to be stabbed, but she probably just didn't know the full version of how it happened because she's still in the hospital and stuff.
She literally said,
mm-hmm.
I didn't see anyone else get stabbed. I didn't know who anyone else was stabbed. I was only focusing on myself. But hey, I know I was the first person.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand, but that's sense.
But I was really surprised to hear her say that they went looking for a problem.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They all kind of came.
They injected themselves into the situation and made it worse.
More and more came, so I could understand why his anxiety went through the roof, because standing there, now you're already dealing with a handful of rowdy kids in your face, but now they're coming from the left, they're coming from the right, like they're all coming up. And so it says Schumann which is Isaac, and he is the one who passed. There was a total of 5 who were stabbed. One of them passed away. He had a sharp force injury to his left chest during his external examination. When he examined Schumann internally, he reclassified it as a stab wound, saying that means the depth of the wound exceeds the length of the wound on the skin. The stab wound injured Schumann's ribs, left lung, and heart. The prosecution went through photographs taken during autopsy. The photographs were not shown in court, but paper copies were given to the witnesses and jury. While reviewing the photographs, Frolov noted 2 of Schumann's ribs were transected when a weapon went through his rib cage. Frolov said he performed a toxicology report, the results of which showed Schumann's blood alcohol content was a 0.219. He found no other substances or drugs in Schumann's system. The cause of death was a stab wound to the left chest, and his manner was homicide. And the defense asked Froloff to clarify that homicide in this instance is not a legal term, to which he agreed. And Miu's attorneys also noted that Schumann's blood alcohol content was more than twice the legal limit for operating a vehicle in Wisconsin. A long line of questioning sought to explore the causes for the depth of Schumann's wound, including whether he was moving towards or falling into the weapon, while Froloff said he never observed this incident and there were endless possibilities about the causes. He did agree that the possibility laid out by the defense was reasonable. I don't know, guys. So I think this is a hard one. I would not want to serve on this jury. And I think the reason that the jury convicted him on these charges was a few factors, including the ages of the kids, how many were injured, it being captured on video. And there is another video out there, guys, from another angle. I'm going to choose not to play it because that one is a little bit more graphic, and you will see the one who was disemboweled. He survived, but the one who was disemboweled, you see him laying in the river and then getting up and literally holding his organs inside of him. It is out there if you guys want to see it. Again, I'm not going to play it today, but it's out there. So this is something the jury saw, and I think that's also a factor. And the lying, and so, but I think to say that he did not feel threatened and that they did not put hands on him, I don't know. Like, I think maybe lesser charges than what he got, but I don't agree with getting convicted with what he got convicted of.
Can I add one other
please do
thing? I live here, so I can say this. I'm not being judgy to anyone, but in this area, especially in Wisconsin, it's pretty rural, and there's just a lot of I guess you could say redneck hick people, and I think that the jury was probably compromised of a lot of people. And I love where I live. I love my neighbors, and I'm freaking redneck. I'm okay with that. But my son carries the same probably kind of knife around and all the things. But I think that guy being different and the kids being kids, I just think that perspectives are sometimes different. That's just how I feel. Like talking to my neighbors on the block, most of them felt that he should be convicted. And it's just very interesting, just interesting. It's just a different kind of, you've been here, Mal, you've been here, Big Al, you guys know it's just different, right? Isn't it kind of just different over in
it is different.
Northwest Wisconsin? It's just different. I don't know how else to.
I think it's just the way people are raised and the difference of society as a whole in those specific areas of how people are raised, how they're raised to look at the world and other people and stuff like that.
A little more judgmental.
Yeah.
I'd say a lot more judgmental.
Okay, I was trying to be nice.
I really would. And honestly, you got to remember, this is another resort community. I live in a resort community.
Yep.
They're different. 6
they
months
are.
out of the year, it's different.
You're right.
It's you get a lot of entitled, wealthy people,
and we're slow,
and we're a little bit slower, and we take things a little bit differently than the people that come from out of town. Which is good and bad.
Yep.
But like I said in the back chat, I prefer being in the woods. I know all the cops. I know all the crooks. I'm connected in one way or another to pretty much all the organizations, good and bad. And I run a bar, but I don't drink. And for me, I feel safer here.
Yeah.
As do I. I love it. I love that there's a Walmart and I can in some restaurants, but I can still walk to the woods in my backyard.
Right. And we just had a murder here. Don't get me wrong. We just had a murder here in Cross Lake about 6 months ago.
Yeah, there's murders everywhere.
It's not. We're not impervious to it.
Right. But, and the closer you get to the city, it does get a lot more dangerous. Just because I think, like, even just Minneapolis in general is not
the same
place that it's nowhere near the same. Especially like if you're going down there for anything, it's like Make sure you're going in groups. Make sure you know the area that you're going to. If you're going to this place at a certain time, you have to be very careful. But it's like I'm with you, Big Al. I'm like, I feel a lot more comfortable if I go a little bit farther up north. You know, even if I go into a Target up north versus a Target down here, there's just a different atmosphere.
Right. My brother was a Minnesota State Trooper. And after everything happened in 2020, and he got hit in the head with a brick, and then went out a couple of nights later and got hit in the head with a bottle, and he retired at 38 years old. It's just, we've lost 380 cops in just Minneapolis alone in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So of course it's not going to be as safe.
I was in Minneapolis last week for a doctor's appointment.
Oh, wow.
And I came into North Minneapolis, went to North Memorial, drove to a place that I used to go when I was a kid with my dad to grab some stuff from the deli, and left town. And when I was leaving town, I thought to myself, that is the first time I've ever been in North Minneapolis, not seen a single cop car.
Yeah.
Because they're gone.
Not one.
I think 50 some troopers retired. It's really bad. That's why there's so much bad stuff happening.
Yeah.
So,
okay. I was just going to say, so what I'm sharing is just the Google Earth of this. So based on, I kind of followed it all the way through the Apple River here, but the only bridge that's not like a main street bridge is this one right here.
That's the Dairy Queen right there, isn't it?
The what?
Isn't that the Dairy Queen right there on the corner by the bridge? To your left, right there. Is that the Dairy Queen
Holiday,
right
Sportsman's. Right here, you mean?
Yeah, somewhere over on that corner. I thought that was where the Dairy Queen was.
Why is my freaking thing doing that? God.
My Google's
no, this is a realty place, but oh wait, no, that's just Sportsman's. But like, this is the big bridge, and then if you go a little bit up, this is like the little one that's like the covered one. This is the Sunrise Bridge. So I think when it came to going up on the shoreline with like the cops' pictures and stuff, I think it's this shoreline here.
Well, they took that picture when the water was way low.
Yeah.
And I don't see a history in the military. It says he was born in Romania. When he was about 15 or 16, he immigrated to the United States because his father wanted his family to have a better life. They were taken in as political refugees and accepted by a church in Minnesota. He grew up speaking Romanian, but also learned Russian. By the time he moved to the United States, Miu also knew French and Latin. Then he picked up his fifth language, English. He went to school in South Dakota and became a mechanical engineer. He was a bit of a handyman and good with tools. He eventually settled down in Prior Lake with his now ex-wife, Sandra, and he told police he was living a peaceful, quiet life in Minnesota and had never been in trouble before.
Prior Lake's pretty upscale.
Yeah.
I grew up 2 towns over from Prior Lake.
It's a very
Prior
nice
Lake has
community.
the largest casino in Minnesota is in Prior Lake.
I was going to say, is that where Mystic Lake is?
Mistake Lake.
Yeah, that it is.
I know.
Well, and he was convicted of lesser charges. So I want to just correct myself. When I say I feel like he should have been convicted of lesser charges, I mean lesser than that. I still think it was too harsh. When I'm separating myself from the victims and the injuries, because I'm seeing it as, was it self-defense? I think it was.
Yeah.
What was the actual sentence?
First degree reckless homicide in the death of 17-year-old Isaac Schulman. And he was convicted of 4 counts of recklessly endangering safety and 1 count of battery, which I don't disagree with those, but I guess reckless homicide still, I don't know. Like,
do you think it should have been manslaughter instead of homicide?
Yes, I do think it should have been manslaughter. Yeah.
So
it
why
can't
does
be
this
homicide
not
just by the sheer definition of homicide.
Yeah. Why
Not
does this not look fun though?
Say that one more time.
I said it doesn't look that fun.
No, it's fun.
It looks beautiful to me.
I promise you, it's fun.
It's
really,
so
really
fun.
is.
I feel like I'd be the one that gets stuck on the little island thing.
Reckless homicide, like an example, is like drunk driving.
Right.
Holiday.
I mean, they said like 40 years, and then he could get some off.
Mm-hmm.
But he's
So
50, right? I mean, that's his rest of his
40,
life.
40.
I think it was unintentional. So like a person who unintentionally kills someone commits involuntary manslaughter due to a reckless act. So that is what I think would have been more fitting, not reckless homicide.
But I think because he potentially actually did the act of killing them, like stabbing them, it wasn't, you know what I mean? Like he intended to stab them.
Yeah, I see. But did he intend to kill? You know what I
That's
mean?
why
Like,
I think it's
I think
reckless. It's doing
if he had intended to stab
actions
them,
without recklessly,
wouldn't he have approached them with the knife in his hand already?
Correct.
The other thing that's interesting is at the beginning they were saying first degree. After watching everyone testify, all of a sudden they added all these other charges.
Yes.
To me, that says that they thought that their case sucked too, right?
Yeah.
Why else would they have done that?
They knew, and that's why they said, consider lesser charges possibly to the jury. Yeah. Right, but and you watch it on video though, Kathy, and that's the thing. It was the way it was I don't want to say it as if it minimizes it because I'm not trying to minimize it, versus the knife was fucking sharp. And I think it was more the damage of the knife versus what I don't know how to say it right.
Did you watch that video that I sent you earlier, Melissa?
No, I didn't get a chance
to.
No, tell us about it.
Well, the lawyer, does a great job at the overviews.
I'll drop the link.
He's obviously a lawyer, and he went over why he believed that they found him guilty of these charges. Mm-hmm. He said a lot of it had to do with the weapon itself, like how sharp it was, how big it was, stuff like that, the damage that it did, and that's why he thought that they had the ability to find him guilty in that.
I'm dropping the link for that right now, and I do want to watch that. I just didn't get a chance to watch it.
You're good.
And I'd be interested to hear his perspective, someone way more educated than I am on how it works. Like I said, I think it's a hard one. I think nobody walks away winning here. Everybody walks away losing, but it's a big lesson learned of how, because I think back all the time to when I was young, and I'm like, oh my God, I was in so many potentially dangerous situations. I got lucky. But we really got to just teach our kids. And I agree with what Tess said earlier. Kids these days are desensitized. They are. And everything, even the kid flipping it to himself to record himself. I'm like, that is such a today's society thing to do.
Yeah.
But we really have to urge them. And because I don't think any of the kids intended for that. I don't think they had bad intentions either, but that's why you need to be smart and realize, hey, you don't put yourself in that type of situation. You don't act that way.
Yeah.
But it's sad. I think it's sad all the way around.
It really is.
Yeah. But I appreciate you guys coming up and discussing it with me. Like, I can't believe I didn't know about it before a couple of days ago. I got an email about it, and then my friends started telling me about it. I'm like, how didn't I hear about this? I had no idea, and I'm pissed I missed it. And I got in late.
I remember hearing about it when it happened, and then it just kind of went to the back burner with everything else that's been going on. And I don't watch local news anymore. I quit that in 2020.
Thank you. Well, it's been very amazing to be able to hear you guys' insight about being local and what you know about it, what you heard about it. And I really do appreciate that. So thank all three of you for coming up and doing this with me.
Yeah, thank you for having
me. Thank you for letting me share my perspective. My parents and family, everyone are tired of it. My neighbor was one of the officers, Melissa. If he told me he's going to let me interview him after the case, so if he wants to talk to someone, I'll let you know. Okay,
that would be awesome. Tess.
I'm like, can you tell me anything? And his wife and I walk our dogs together, and so because she has a puppy too. And it's a little French bulldog named Stanley, and he's so cute. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. And
Aw.
they're the two spazzy dogs of the neighborhood, so they walk together. And he said he would talk to me after it was done. So I don't know if he will, but if he does,
Ooh.
I'll let you know.
Give me the deets. That would be
Yes.
awesome. Well, that I very much appreciate it. And I agree, Yo knows Monesto. I'm going to go back and watch the parts that I miss. Because she says it's truly fascinating if you could see it without the emotion. And that's all I'm trying to do. Like, because it's horrific and I feel horrible, but when you're looking at it through the legal system, you really do have to look at it with the facts and not the emotion. And that's what I was trying to do. And it's hard. Again, it's hard, but Mallory has an amazing channel. It's called Malicious Intent. I put it in the description of this video for anybody who's watching the replay. And then I've been dropping it throughout. So make sure you go over and subscribe to her. And I know at least us three up on panel, not to exclude you, Alan, if you know anything about Maura Murray, you're more than welcome to come too. But we're planning on doing on the, I told you guys to do about the disappearance of Maura Murray. Maybe we could schedule the first episode because we're going to do 2 episodes. We're going to do it on Mallory's and mine. And then maybe we could schedule the first one for like next week or something. That would be awesome.
I will come for emotional support.
Thank you. I love it. And then I'm going to drop the link for Deets on the Street because I know she's live. So we could go Jade Raid over there and show her support.
Fun.
But thank you all so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for my mods and everybody in the chat. And I look forward to doing this again soon.
Have a great night,
Thank you for covering this like you do everything, Melissa, with both sides and being so fair with, the truth and facts. Thank you.
Well, thank you. That's so kind. Thank you, Tess, for coming up too. Oh, on a different note, did you see Sarah Boone's show? Oh no! Oh no! Did it
you
really?
Didn't see that? I saw that.
Oh man! Oh crap! Well, I am parched for some Boone, but thank you for letting me know. I'm gonna go take a look at that. And I didn't know Scott, you have a channel? Oh well, welcome, Kendall. I would just drop your link. If one of the mods want to grab Scotty's link, you're more than welcome to and just drop it. But thank you so much. I'm so excited. And yeah, I'll see you guys over at Deetz's.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Valerie. Bye.